Siri, text Xavier, I'm here.
Sending to Xavier. I'm here.
FBI, open up. I have a go questions.
No camera, deportation, no camera.
Give me it.
Boy, right? A boy?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Hey, man. It's so chill.
Yeah, he's very chill.
It's probably because you've been manhandling him. So he's like not scared of humans.
Yeah. It's training. That's all it is. It's nothing else. Nothing else at all. He's just chill. He's just kind of.
Hey, boy.
Did you have to like get his shots and stuff?
Yeah. Well, he got his shots before we got him.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get him?
He was living on a farm. This family that goes to Life Campus right there, and they were just kind of like, "Hey, you want a cat?" And Mike was like, "Sure." And they had that conversation before I even moved in. So I just kind of like got here a week later, and Mike was like, "Hey, so we're getting a cat, just by the way." And now, bro is here.
Such a cool color.
Yeah.
He's like orange, but it's not like too orange.
He definitely acts like an orange cat though. He's a little crazy.
Can I hold him? Is he gonna be fine with that?
Yeah.
Alright, see ya.
Hey, bro.
Bro.
Now what?
I'm going home. I'll bring Max here and then you can come back.
Is Max a cat?
No,
Is he a dog?
the white dog, remember?
I'll trade. You can have Percy. I will
Seriously?
take a dog any day of the week.
Meow.
No, he's fine.
Bro is so chill, it's so good.
Yeah. I haven't used the church for like anything yet. Now that I have like the ability to do it, so
You're like an elder now.
I don't know about that.
All right, take a seat. This is literally sick. You want to come see what it looks like?
Yeah, you sit down, and I'll look.
We do a worship service before.
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah.
Bro, this is the spot.
This is the spot. This might be the spot.
This might be the spot. This is literally perfect in the church.
Like just in a church. Why? Where else are you gonna do a podcast? A Christian podcast?
And this table is a perfect height for these chairs.
Yep. It's almost like
It was meant to happen this way.
it's meant to be. And we're back. We're back a month later. Yeah. It is very, very long time coming. Next episode.
Make sure
Where
the
are we
screen's
yelling?
Flipped.
Yeah.
W-Riz.
No, you don't do that.
All right.
It's been a minute. We're back. Finally, after a month of stuff and life happening.
2 months, actually, I think.
Has it been 2?
Yeah, I just checked.
Oh, my fault. Yikes. Well, stuff has been crazy. Life has been crazy. Just kind of like overall.
Yeah, but I
So.
legit, like, we were about to film outside, and it's dark out now, so the lighting's not very good. And we literally have access to sit in a church, Xavier's church, to record this.
Yeah, we are just in Life Compass Sanctuary.
Are you in? I would probably scoot over a little bit.
Oh yeah. Yeah. we're just in the sanctuary. So
This could not be a more perfect spot.
yeah, crazy how it works out today. Because I literally got access like to the church this morning.
Dang.
Like that's kind of crazy how it lined up.
Yeah.
So because it was either going to be me asking for permission, which would have been a little awkward and weird, or us like being outside and finding some other spot to do it. So now that we are just kind of able to do this, it's cool. Yeah. So welcome back, broken but mending. You know, we're back. Life has been crazy.
Yeah, lots happened, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah.
Where do we
I don't know where to
start?
start with that because like a lot has happened, a lot over the past like 2 months now.
Well, both of us got new jobs, but that was already. Oh no,
You already had a new job. I was still.
true.
Yeah.
You moved.
I did.
I'm trying to think.
So I guess start with that. I moved. I was in just Oak Forest for like the past like 6 years, I think, because I went through all of high school and then I was there for like two more years. And like 2 years ago when I was going to Olivet for a semester, I got plugged into here, to Life Compass in Kankakee. And I got plugged into their youth program, so I'm one of the small group leaders for the middle school boys. I dropped out of school just because it was expensive, and college, Christian college especially, is just really expensive. But I was already so plugged in with their youth program, and I knew so many of the kids already and had built up so many like good relationships that I was like, I don't really want to leave and start over basically in a whole new church. So I stayed, and I'm glad I did, because staying got me even more plugged in, more connected with everyone around here, and eventually led to the conversation of me moving here, which that kind of happened out of nowhere, completely random. One of the people that I met here, my roommate now, Mike, he had just gotten back from his old church where he was at. He ended up leaving on pretty bad terms. The church like kicked him out, basically.
Jeez.
It's a bit of a long story, but he was being treated like very wrongly, which ended up with him being here now. So I think it's kind of a little God involved with that. But so he ended up coming back to Life Compass, and I think after church one Sunday morning, we all got like lunch. All the youth leaders, the kids, a lot of the staff, we just kind of went out to this, I think, what's it called? It's this pizza place that's like right around here. I need to know the name of it, but I can't remember it. It's where I met him, basically. And we became friends pretty quick, because he was going to be the other small group leader for the middle school boys, so it was going to be me and him. So I saw him every Sunday then.
How long has he been going here?
He has been here. He was going here before he left for his other church, so longer than I've been here.
Okay.
Much longer, I think.
When did you start going here?
I started going here a little over 2 years ago.
Okay.
So actually, it might have been just 2 years now. Yeah.
Were you going to a church before that?
Kind of. I wasn't in a church at the time, but I just left my old home church, Stone Church in Orland Park, right down the street from Parkview.
Okay.
I grew up in that church, like before they were even in Orland Park, and I was in their youth program as well. And I was a small group leader for the middle schoolers because they were combined. But the interim youth pastor, Pastor Randy, he kind of like not forced me, but like nudged me in the right direction of being a youth leader.
That's good.
And he is the one who really nurtured my faith in helping me realize that it was God's calling for me to be involved in the youth.
Yeah.
And then he ended up leaving because we found a permanent youth pastor for that church. But there was a lot going on with like the leadership and a lot of stuff that shouldn't have been going on.
Yeah, that sucks.
That kind of forced me to just leave because it wasn't good. Yeah, it just wasn't good. So I wasn't going to church at the time. And then when I came to Olivet, I started church hopping everywhere. I tried 2 before I ended up here at Life Compass. There was a church on campus called College Church that I tried. Very like old school, like singing hymns and everything, and like the really long wooden seats and stuff. Very traditional looking church. It was
like
good.
Going down on your knees and standing back up all the time. Yeah, that's more like a Catholic church kind of. No.
Yeah, it was. It's not a Catholic church, but it gave a very similar vibe to it.
Okay.
It was still good. It's still a good church because it's like a lot of the students are involved in the ministry and the worship there.
That's good.
So it's a really good opportunity for people to be involved in. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I tried K1, which is Kankakee First. That's like the popular college student church that like everybody goes to, and I tried that twice.
Around here?
Yeah. And I just really didn't get anything from it, I guess. It was like something my friend told me, that it's like the church you go to where you want to be seen going to church, is what he called it, which was interesting because the more that I saw people going to that church and I knew the kind of people that they were, it was like, it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, if that's where you need to go to get fulfilled, then that's where you should go.
Yeah. Hey, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick,
Exactly. Yeah.
And as long as you're going, come as you are, but when you're talking about the one church, I was like kind of not leading in a certain way that they should. I saw this video earlier. It was so good. This guy, I think it's like crossings or something. He like does this, YouTube channel where he just like wears a GoPro on his chest or whatever, and he like will sit on a corner of the street. I think he's in Texas or Dallas or something like that. And he'll just have like a sign that says like free Bibles. And like those like $3 like economy ones, he'll just like hand them out and people like ask for them, which is sick. And so, but like if someone has like any questions or something like that, he has like those 2 lounge chairs. They'll like come sit down, and he'll kind of just answer any questions. But this one girl came up and she was just like, hey, I work at the Panera right over there. I just see you every day standing here, like almost it is every couple days or whatever. He'll like do that during the week. And she's like, I've been seeing you so much, and I just been wanting to come over here, but I've been super like just like anxious and just like scared to do it. But she finally did, and it was so cool. She pretty much literally like accepted Jesus like just right there in the middle of the street.
That's awesome.
But she was talking about like, oh, I need help finding a church to go to. I just like want to find a perfect church. And he was like, well, you got to think about that, because there's not a perfect church, because there's people in it, and people are not perfect.
Yeah.
So, you just got to find a church that suits you the most,
Right.
But yeah, some people will be like, oh, I'm gonna wait till I find like a perfect church, then I'll start going. But no church is perfect, because people are not perfect.
Right.
So as long as you start going to one, and then if you don't really like it, maybe look around and watch some of the online ones. That's what I did before I started going to Parkview.
Yeah.
I just like watched a few of their online services to kind of get a feel for how they teach and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, then I'll go in person.
Yeah.
But that's what just made me think about that.
No, that's super important, because like that's a big misconception that people have, is that like you're looking for this perfect church.
Yeah.
And like it's exactly how you said it. Like no church is gonna be perfect because there's people in it. Like that's a really good message. And that's one of the big things that like drew me to Life Compass was like they're so focused on community here. That's what I'm learning more and more as I'm living here, is that like one thing about it is, I know but we sometimes simulcast in lessons and sermons from Life Church with Pastor Craig Rochelle.
Where is that based out of?
Isn't
it Arizona?
I think that's somewhere like that's like Arizona
or Utah,
Texas, or something like that. So it's something we'll literally have it like on the screen behind us, and we'll all be watching it. We'll have in-person worship, and then Pastor Ken will like talk before and after, and he'll elaborate, and it's still good, but like sometimes we'll have like that service up, and a lot of people respond to that differently, like having an in-person pastor or like being able to watch like a simulcast. And the big thing that I tell people is that like the reason that I think we do that, and I could be wrong because I haven't talked to Pastor Ken about this, but it's if you're having one pastor like be under the stress of like preparing a sermon every week, then he can't be as involved in his community because he's like prepping a sermon for like every Sunday,
Yeah.
So that's the big thing. And all of our pastors that we have here, like Olivia, Cami, Beto, Ken, and others, every single one of them is so involved in some part of this church and in this community.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
Even from here, like Olivette's right down the street. Like I know for Olivia's, for example, is incredibly involved in stuff that goes on over there in ministry. And then Pastor Ken's wife, Esther Tuick, is also extremely involved in ministry over there. And it's like the only way that they're able to have that much involvement is being able to have all the time and resources to do it. So, and if we have to sacrifice having an in-person pastor every now and then.
But you guys do some...
yeah, we do. Every now and then, like one of those people will preach, and they're very.
You guys have like guest speakers and stuff. Like the one guy that came when I was here last time.
Yeah.
That's like from Mexico, right? Or they.
Yeah, they moved and then planted churches in Mexico. Yeah. So we'll still have people like, it's not like we strictly do simulcasts.
Yeah.
And something funny that Mike and Pastor Ken told me is that like if people come here and then don't like the simulcast, it's like, well, if you're going to a bigger church and you're looking at the screen to see the guy better, aren't you like kind of watching a simulcast? Yeah. And it's like, not to knock it or anything, but if that's your reason for not wanting to go to the service, it's like...
like if you're going to go and then sit all the way in the back or up the balcony or whatever and then complain about that, it's like,
It's like, all right.
Unless you bring in binoculars like back in the... when you would go to the plays.
Yeah, like with the single arm binocular things,
Telescope.
But yeah, and that again, that's what drew me to here is the amount of involvement and focus that they put on the community.
And you could see it, like, everybody knows everybody.
Exactly.
Which is good. Which is like a cool, like, small town vibe, kind of like everyone knows everyone, which is nice, because then, it feels, it's harder to not get sucked into the community and, like, be involved and stuff like that. And it's good because, that's one of the most important things, which I've started to learn more by, like, joining a small group and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which has been super sick, but we can get to that in a little bit. But, what were you saying?
Yeah, but just again back to like the moving. Because that kind of ties into what came about. Like, so meeting Mike and then getting involved. Me and him started hanging out outside of church. Like after youth group, we would go out to eat or something. So me and him would go out to beat ups. Funny enough, because at the time I still worked there.
The one around here you were going to?
No. I just knew the one manager there, and then one of the servers there. So and then I never really got sick of beat ups food. That's the thing. Like I never.
Same. Like I legit will go there sometimes and still get food.
Like every now and then. Actually, Thursday nights, a few of our small group leaders, they're part of this fantasy football league. So they'll go on Thursdays to watch, and I'll occasionally go with. I don't do the fantasy league because I don't know anything about football.
Yeah, same.
But it's a fun time.
Honestly, it's probably for the better because they're literally gambling and guessing too. Probably they know some stuff, but you would probably have just the amount of the same chances throwing a bunch of random darts at the board and then doing just as good.
Yeah, I don't think any of them are like putting actual money on it, so they're not like actual. It's more like I'm going to make this team, and then you're going to compete against someone else with a team, and it's more of a fun thing. Yeah. But sometimes me and Mike we would go out to eat, and we became friends pretty close. Oh, that's not how sentences work. We became friends pretty easily, and we got close really fast. So he ended up finding out a lot about me. I found a lot about him, and we just clicked. One of the nights, me, him, and Gavin, you just met one of my students. He's a high schooler now. He's a senior in high school, taking college classes. Extremely talented.
That was the one with the profile pic for school?
Yeah. Yeah. He's very interesting, but he's a really good kid.
Seems like a
he
good
surprises me sometimes, but he's a good kid. We were out to eat one night, and the talk of me transferring to that beat ups right over in Bradley was kind of in the air.
Yeah.
And this was, I want to say 2 months ago is when this conversation started happening. And then me wanting to move here was a conversation long time ago. I was like, at some point I want to move here and be involved in this church.
Yeah, especially when you start going to school again.
Exactly. And then go to school. That's the overall plan, but I don't have like a set in motion or any kind of set plan. So we were out this one night, and the one of the managers, Ed, he knew me because I've worked at that store before, and he was a manager there, and then he's worked at the Frankfurt store when I was there once. So we know each other pretty well. He went to Olivet, graduated there. So that's how we kind of connected, because at the time I was still going to Olivet when we first met. And then so about 2 months ago, we were there, and he came over to our table, and every time I come in, he always gives me the joke of like, "Hey, you want to take some tables? Like, if I clock you in, you're gonna take some tables?" I'm like, "Dude, give me an apron. I got you."
Dude, long story short, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, you.
I'm gonna forget this. Like if you ever wanted to pick up shifts, probably at the Bradley one, you definitely still could, because there are some people who did some way worse stuff than what you did and got their job back and then became employee of the month.
Yeah.
So there's no way that they would not take you back.
No, actually.
Even just like to pick up shifts and stuff like that, or just like work twice a week or once a week or whatever.
Yeah. The only problem is they would have to like put me through the rehire process, because like I'm fully out of the system now.
Yeah, but it's not
again,
that
that's
hard.
not hard. That's
they
not
hire
hard
you the day of.
Yeah, but and then one of the times I was like, this one time he came over and was like, you gonna take some tables? And I was like, yeah, I mean, give me an apron. And he was like, so when are you transferring here? Like, when are we doing that? And I was like, when I figure out moving here, then it will happen. I will transfer to the store. Mike was right across from me, and he goes like, dude, why don't you just move in with me? Like, full seriousness in his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually? And he was like, yeah, I got a spare room. Like, just move your stuff in there, it'll be good to go. And I was like, and I looked at Ed and I was like, give me like 15 minutes to have this conversation.
Let me think about making a life-changing decision real quick.
This could potentially change the rest of my life. So let me figure this out real quick. So he left, and he was all excited. He was like, "Oh, word! Like, all right, sounds good." And so I started talking with Mike. I'm like, "Okay, were you serious? Like, is that actually a thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, we'd have to clear it with Pastor Ken, but like, I doubt he'd have a problem with it. He's always trying to get people to like move down here." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, if that's something that Pastor Ken would be okay with, and that you'd be okay with, then sure." So then this ball started rolling of me potentially moving. I really just needed to clarify it with Pastor Ken, and then I had to make sure Bill was okay with it, the GM at Frankfurt at the time, because Kamal moved to Tinley. I had to clear it with him, and then I had to figure out how like transferring would work. So it was just figuring out a bunch of puzzle pieces and how it was going to fit together, and that was really just waiting on time. I just had to find a time to meet with Ken, and that was the big thing. Yeah. So I'm still going to work and everything, and for whatever reason I'm having like the worst day imaginable. Like everything is going wrong, and I pull into work like ready to go and everything, and I see I know Brandy's there and Allie's there. And for context, because I know at least Brandy's watching,
shout out,
and probably Allie, the only thing was I am not good at like hiding when I'm not having a great day,
like hiding your emotions,
especially at work. Normally I am, but at work I'm very not good at it, because it's like I have to put this face on to like deal with customers. Like that's just what I have to do.
I'm good with it for the most part, but sometimes like if something stacks up, I'm like, dude, I'm about to explode.
Exactly. And that day stuff was already stacked up before I even got to work. And I knew that like both of them actually, Allie and Brandy are both people who like genuinely care. Like they pay attention to me when I'm like not having the greatest day.
That's good.
So like it's very good. I'm very thankful for both of them. But it's like they'll ask if I'm okay and not stop asking until I tell them. And it's like I don't want to talk about it, and I know they're not going to stop asking. So
there's sometimes where you just like need to just not talk about it.
Exactly. Sometimes I just need to get through.
Even though you probably should, but you know, as men, it's like, come on, dude, you can't have emotions.
Yeah, we can't do that around here. No, it was more so like I just don't want to even deal with it today. It was already so bad. And the thought of like maybe I just quit and make it through the next 2 weeks before I move, and because me and Ken had already set up a meeting like in the next 2 weeks. I was like, okay, this is pretty much a surefire thing. I just have to make it to that.
Yes. And
the day I was like, what if I just quit and survive on what I have for 2 weeks, and then move, and then start the job at the Bradley location.
Yep.
So, but before I even did that, I was like, okay, let me not make a really stupid decision right now based on my emotions. So I called my friend Justin, and I was like, dude, I want to quit my job. And he was like, oh, okay, that's not good. Let's talk about this. So he was talking me through every other possible option that I had other than quitting. He was like really trying to get me through it and like make sure that like I wasn't going to make a really impulsive decision.
Yeah.
And after we were talking for a minute, I got to the conclusion like, no, because like I think this genuinely might be a good idea to just like be done with this place, because like I was getting overworked, I was stressed out, I was so burnt out with just everything. I was basically where Daniel was at like today. I was basically at that point, but like with 2 more years of experience being in that position.
Dude, it's a stressful job, and I commend people who do it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Well, also people's, the work environment is not that terrible most of the time. Anyway, yeah. So I came to the logical decision that like quitting is probably just my best option right now, because like I can't afford
like putting your 2 weeks in. Or just quitting on the spot.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Yeah. I would okay. So the decision to quit, I think, was the good decision. The way I did it, I think I should not have done.
Yeah. Quitting is fine. If you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there.
Right.
But you should definitely do it professionally,
Yeah. I was stupid and made the decision to I literally called Brandy because she was there. And I was like, hey, can you like take me off the schedule like permanently? And she was like, there was like a silence for a good few seconds, like, so you're quitting? And I was like, yeah.
And this was when I think I quit like maybe a month before that.
It was like a month before. You were gone. Josh was gone.
Oh God.
I was now leaving. It was like, the A team is leaving.
And I understand like the stress. Like, dude, imagine you're the manager of that store and like you lose like 4 employees, servers.
Yeah.
And like which I'm pretty sure we didn't even have enough servers at that point. I mean, I'd be stressed out too.
Right. I genuinely felt awful doing it. And if I could have gone back and put in my 2 weeks and done it properly, I would have, because it wasn't professional and it wasn't just good the way I did it. But
Whatever.
I did. I made the decision. Yeah, I made the decision. That's where it is. So I ended up just trying to survive for the next 2 weeks, basically. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of like, okay, God, if this is where you are going to lead me, like if this moving is the decision that you're leading me to, then I'm going to need some serious help, because I'm stressed out about like all of this and how this is going to look, and I don't know how it's going to work, you know?
Yeah.
I stayed in constant prayer about it, and I stayed in my word as much as I could. And eventually I met with Ken.
Don't murder in the church.
Hey, bro, look. he's getting on my nerves.
Mosquito,
little
whatever that was.
Gnat or something was flying around. But like,
he's trying to read the word.
Who's not what would you say about murder in the church?
Let me help him.
There you go. Yeah, right in Jeremiah. There we go. Perfect. But yeah, I met with Ken, and again, it was a surefire thing, but he like basically interviewed me.
Well, because he wants to make sure, like, you know, anyone coming into his home, pretty much.
Yeah. I'm not saying that was a bad thing, but it was like,
It's like when you
just a
interview
really
to like if you go to like rent a apartment, whatever, they'll kind of sit you down, make sure that they can trust you to, you know, be responsible.
Yeah, but it was like a really good interview. Like, I didn't realize it was basically an interview until he asked me the question of like, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
That's good.
And that he like dropped it in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, oh, it's an interview. Okay, got it. That's what we're doing right now. But I came up with this answer like on the spot, and it like made me think that I think this is actually what I want to do. I came to the decision that I want to like plant a church in a really like low income, very bad area. Because we were talking about where Life Compass is, and it's in Kankakee, which is not a good area, and what we're trying to do as Life Compass in this community, and what we've been doing, and what they've been doing, but way before me. But it made me think of like how much I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I started thinking like, I think I want to do that. Like, I don't want to be the lead pastor for that.
But you want to help out in some way.
But I'd like to be the youth pastor for that. I want to find someone else in ministry who has that calling and wants to do the same thing, and find a team of people and plant a church in a low income area. Just like Life Compass is in Kankakee. The exact same thing. And I felt so confident about it. Like, I just thought of it, and it was like, yeah, I think that's where God's calling me. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And I told him that, and then he just talked to me about like, yeah, whenever you want to move in, let me know, and then we'll talk about like specifics of utilities and paying for stuff later. Like,
what's his name again?
Jace. Yeah, Jace. We were saying about it. Pastor's son, Jace. Great kid. Brought us a table.
He brought us a table.
Dude, this could not have happened without Jace Tuick.
Seriously.
Shout out to Jace Tuick. And there's Pastor Ken, and then their youngest daughter. Why, she's not waving. No, she's waving bye to her father? What? Okay. Guess she's going home with her mom. But he got me in, and I moved all my stuff. And the first few weeks was very rough, because like the whole thing fell out with beat-ups completely, because they took me out of the system.
Yeah.
Which was like, okay, so I'd have to go through the rehire process, but their manager. Yeah, completely understandable. Yeah. Make complete sense. I honestly did not blame it. It was like, it sucked to hear, but I was like, yeah, but I would have done the exact same thing if I was a manager there. I would not have hired him back. But
I still think if B-Dubs is watching this, you should still hire Xavier back, because you know he's a good employee and you know he's going to do his job.
Maybe. I don't know. What was crazy though is that Mike works at Chick-fil-A. He's also he's becoming the back of house director, which is like up there for management wise. It's like one under, I think, the top, like one of the two tops. He's very up there management wise. He was able to get me in to an interview very easily. And then I met with Donna, I think first, who I think she handles all of like the initial hiring stuff. She's like the first interview person. And then Kate Clavon, the daughter of John Clavon, our current operator for that Chick-fil-A, was my second interview, and she's the one who handles like actually hiring people. And I think a lot more, I just don't know specifics, but she got me in really, really fast. And I think what was cool about it was I told her about my experience with beat-ups, and the starting pay for front of house people is $14 an hour. But she said because of my experience with serving, they started me at $15.75, which was really nice.
That's good.
And everything just went so smoothly. And I've been there for I've been there for a month now, which is
Time flies, dude.
crazy. Like, I don't know how it's been a month already, but it has, and I'm really liking it so far. I think it definitely is working out better than Betos would have, I think. I think this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And
Where do you move up from there, though?
right now, it would be like, well, I gotta get out of training first, and that's taking this menu test. But then it's like advanced team member, and then it's shift lead, and then it's like there's this ladder that you can.
Do you want to do that?
through. I kind of do, because my main thing is being here involved in church, and my So I'm planning on going back to school in next year for fall.
Okay,
and
yeah.
my major would be ministry and psychology. So that would be just being more involved in church already.
Yeah. And then after you get your degree and all that, then what?
Then it would be like either be attempting to be like on the staff here, and that being like my actual job, or like seeing if I'm like called to a different church, or maybe I have been here for a certain amount of years and it's like, okay, now it's time to go plant that church. Like whatever that plan is going to look like, I'm kind of playing it by ear.
Okay.
But for right now, I think Chick-fil-A is a very good like base, because I can still do a lot. That's the thing. And then the operator, John Clavon, he planted churches before he became an operator for Chick-fil-A.
And you can be a franchisee owner for not a lot of money, because one of my brothers, that does real estate, he like helped this one guy with something or whatever, but he was one of his friends is like a general manager or owner, I think, of one of the locations, or I think I think he started out with one location and then he ended up buying like 2 more locations or something like that. But I'm not sure what else he does outside of that, but yeah, I mean, you can do that.
Yeah, I think being
because then you don't have to be there 24/7.
No.
So you could still help out in the church, but then also go and like how what's their faces? They just come into the store for a little bit, make sure everything's running okay, and then they go to the other ones, and then
Yeah, that's like almost my plan, is like to be that.
Yeah.
In Chick-fil-A in a certain amount of years, and then still be mainly involved here though.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the plan.
Because then also like just good leadership like that in management changes everything.
Yeah.
If you walked into those stores and you say hi to everybody and you're nice to them, and maybe you remember some people's names and stuff like that, and you're just like bringing good energy, then it just changes everybody's day.
Yeah,
and then
it matters.
Yeah.
That's like my goal is literally just to be that. So that's where I'm at now, and now it's like just living it day by day and just playing it by ear, literally every day, and it's going good too. Getting my car fixed too, which is
good.
great.
Wait, the old one?
The old red Civic. So they had to completely replace the engine.
Which is how much?
Which is going to be, it's $1,700 by itself, and then like another $200 for
There's
the
only like
towing.
there's only like a certain amount of miles on that, right? Where are you getting it towed to?
This mobile mechanic came, so we had to tow it to his place.
I was gonna say you could probably use my AAA.
That's all right.
It's fine.
And we figured out that it was just going to be cheaper to fix this car because it doesn't
Instead
have
of
that
buying
many
a new
miles
one?
on it. Yeah, and then
How much miles?
it was 2000 when I got it, so it's like maybe a little under 10 now.
10,000 miles on what year?
2009.
Civic?
Maybe.
Bro, the thing's gonna last you 180,000 miles.
Yeah. It's.
Did he take care of it, do oil change regularly and stuff like that?
See, that's the thing now. Is like now that I'm getting this car back, I'm like, okay, this thing is gonna get taken care of so well. You have no idea.
I'm telling you, from a person who did not take care of their car at all and then realized the consequences of that, and it's like, okay, I need to make sure to do oil changes and get my tires fixed and rotate them every 8,000 miles and, you know, just all that little stuff. Dude, it could last you so much. I think I just went to get my car checked by Taylor's boyfriend, Jake.
Yeah. Nice.
Because he's a mechanic.
Yeah.
And he was helping me fix a couple things or whatever. But he was telling me that there's like oil leaking into my engine, which is bad. I mean, the car is from 26 years old and it's at 200,000 miles now. So that kind of, the engine is starting to go bad. But for $300, that car's lasted me so long. But yeah, dude, that if you get that, I mean, $1,700 instead of buying a brand new car, I think it's gonna be worth it. And then it's gonna last you so long if you can take care of it.
That's the plan. And then, so I'm like getting back on like my feet now, and it's cool.
That's
you
good.
know, because it's like I'm finally prioritizing like me, you know.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, like I was not doing that.
And you're worrying about everybody else. Like, dude, the saying about the airplane, like you can't help anybody else if you don't help yourself first.
Yeah.
You got to put your mask on first before you go and try to help anybody else.
Right.
Because if you can't help yourself, how are you going to help others, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like, well, the big thing was like I was so like, because I was so focused on what's your face?
You know what to say.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That was such a big focus on my life. I was like, well, I was letting it sit in the background for a good chunk of time, and then it blew up in my face.
Yeah.
Really bad, and then it like threw everything into like just a
Spiral.
downward spiral.
Yeah.
It was just not good. But thankfully, we ended up figuring stuff out. Like we talked after, and it was good. We're fine now. But now I'm like, okay, relationship is not important right now.
Yeah.
At all.
Your relationship with God should be first.
Exactly.
And then everything else will come.
Yeah. And it's funny because I tell people that all the time. Literally just made a TikTok about it the other day.
It's easier to say it than to do it, you know?
It's like
You gotta practice what you preach.
It's like, well, the thing is, I say it because like I know, you know.
from
It's like
experience.
I'm telling you, like, do not do
Like,
this.
do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly. It's like I know this is a thing that you need to do because I don't do it and I need to be better at it. So I'm trying to teach you as I'm learning. That's like my whole point of making stuff like that. But yeah. So that's where we're at, man. It's good. You know, God is good. He's getting me through a lot of it. So
Moral of the story, like, community is so important. And I'm learning that more and more every single day of my life. Because, like, dude, for so long I had like burned bridges and like ended relationships with people and stuff like that. And it's like, just because I don't know, I guess I was lazy or I don't know, whatever. But like, trying to just be nice to as many people as you possibly can. Yeah. Because it's so much harder to just be mean to everybody and just to be a jerk. But yeah, like I joined the small group at Parkview.
Yeah, how's that going?
There's only 2 sessions we did so far, but like it's just like I already know that it's just going to be so fruitful, and it already has been like the past 2 weeks. Like this book is from it, which is pretty cool. There's like I think it's 8 weeks or something like that, 10 weeks or something. 10 weeks, but it's like has all these topics and stuff like that. They'll pretty much like give you like a devotional, and then they'll ask like a few questions, and then it has like 2 pages where you can write your journal response on it and stuff like that. And it's just been like, even just doing that, pretty much like journaling every day. Yeah. And then like you answer the questions, and after I just been writing out like a prayer every single day. It has helped so much, but also just like finding a good group of guys that are in the faith. It's just like, you can just tell there's like such a difference between that and I don't even, you know what else. but it's so nice. And just being able to like talk about stuff, and then knowing people are not going to go behind your back and start gossiping about it, and just being able to like actually like open up with people.
Yeah.
And hearing like everybody else's experiences too, and just getting different perspectives on situations that you're going through in your life is just so. It's so nice because everybody has like such a different perspective and it's such a different life that they've lived, so they might be able to answer questions that you didn't even think to ask.
Yeah.
And just being able to help you in different choices and stuff like that, and it's been nice. I'm excited. Next this Sunday, because like the third week, there's like a prayer experience that you get to do where we are like I guess on Sunday after church we're going to do it where we go somewhere or whatever, like private, and we all kind of like go in our own little areas. Like if we were in this room, we would go kind of sit by ourselves,
yeah.
and then for an hour straight you just pray, and you just maybe talk to God for a few minutes and you just sit there and then you listen, and yeah, I'm excited for that because I really haven't sat down, I think, really, and just like prayed for an hour straight.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a couple minutes, so I'm excited to see what happens for that. And then we meet every Monday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. That's when we like talk about like our questions and stuff that we answered in the journal and stuff like that. But it's good because just being involved in like a community like that, I think it's super beneficial. And it is easy, like Ken was talking about, like it's so easy to go to like a big church like that and just kind of go to Sunday service and then just, walk out the door and then that's it. But I like just recently I've been so like wanted to be super involved in it and just like be more connected to the church and not just attend Sunday service. So I'm excited to see what happens from that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Because I agree with everything you said. Like being involved just outside of just Sunday service is so important. Because it's like it says, like iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Like it's good to be surrounded by like-minded people who have gone through similar experiences or their own experiences, because then you can learn from each other and help each other out. And then also like it's important to be like surrounded by like Christ followers, but as well as sometimes not Christ followers, because like you want to be around people who are going to build your faith and that you can build their faith and you guys can grow together towards God. And
you also want to be able to like go out of that group of believers and go into a group of non-believers and be like, we might disagree on this, but just being able to kind of spread that light around,
Yeah, and the thing that a lot of people don't really get today is that like the way that we should be ministering to non-believers. Like that's been a pretty big like misconception. I feel like there's a lot of people who are doing a really good job of it. Like
there's also a lot of people who do a really bad job.
But there are also people who are doing a really bad job of it.
And it's just unfortunate, but there's bad people in every type of group,
And it's like, but it makes it harder for the ones who are trying to do it the correct way because it paints like the overall picture of what Christians are. Yeah. That's like the big struggle with it, because it's like I think I had to have this conversation with my friend Jonah the other day, but he was telling me about how he would minister the word to non-believers or believers, and it's about like basically telling people about like the gospel and like the love of Jesus and like what God did for them. But he was using a lot of like, and I told this to him too, but he was using like a lot of buzzwords is like how I'm going to say it. It's like saying the generalized message of like Jesus came to die for you, which is a good message, and we need to learn that message because it's the overall important message of all of it.
Yeah.
But when typically, like you kind of got to understand how people react to the way you say things and what they're thinking when you say this. If someone's just telling you that like, oh, like Jesus loves you, and they're like, that's it.
Okay.
They're like, all right, cool. And it's like, can I pray for you? Or
be like, who's Jesus?
Yeah. Or they're like, okay, cool. Or they'll be like, can I pray for you? And they're like, no, I'm good. And they'll like walk away. Some people will say yes. There's plenty of videos out there like on TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff of people accepting it, and they're phenomenal videos. Like those people that need to hear it, it's good that they're getting it. But it's like,
but like that one guest speaker. Do you know what his name was when I was here?
I don't.
I'm not sure, but he was talking about like I thought they were doing that when they were like handing out the burritos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're like, "Can I pray for you?" And they would say like, "No." I think he's gonna be like, "You can still pray for them."
Yeah, like you can still pray for them
yeah.
when they leave. They just
Yeah.
But it's the thing is like, I look at it from like as someone who like didn't properly grow up in the church his entire life.
Yeah.
It's like I have a lot more experience in like worldly things than I do in like as being a Christian.
Yeah.
Just because like I've spent most of my life not a Christian.
Yeah.
And I've only been a Christian for like a real Christian for like the past 2-3 years ish now. So it's like, okay, now I have to figure out like how do I combine the experiences of being not a Christian with being a Christian.
Yeah.
And that's been the hardest thing.
Some people you have to like, slowly, introduce.
Sometimes you're not going to give them the message of like, hey, like Jesus loves you. It's more going to be like, tell me about like who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Like, can I learn about your story and who you are? And then eventually you're going to be able to like weave in the conversation of Jesus. It's like one of my very, very close friends, David Nepper. He's basically like an older brother to me. When I went on vacation in Missouri, he was the one who invited me. We went to this really cool like tourist town, but like it was like an actual really cool tourist town, which is funny because those don't really exist. But one of the things that we talked about was a ministry that his church does. They go out to like mainly breweries, but sometimes bars, and they meet with like the owners and people there, and they like learn about them and ask them questions about their lives. And they meet them. It's basically meeting people at a place that they're very comfortable and that they're familiar with.
Okay.
And you learn about their stories and who they are. And then that's where they're going to be more comfortable talking about stuff, right? Because it's, when you get to the point where you're comfortable with them and you like start like getting to know them, you'll be able to weave in the conversation of
like more
Jesus.
naturally, yeah.
Right. However, it gets a little controversial because something that I have learned over the past, like, I want to say a few months now, is that like about how drinking kind of fits into everything, like the overall conception of drinking as a Christian is like not okay. Like that's what people think the Christians do. They don't drink. Like if you ask anyone who's not a Christian, you're like, hey, do you think Christians can like drink and party and smoke and all that stuff? No one's going to say yes. They're going to say no mostly.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a difference though between because Jesus drank wine.
Right, and that's the point.
But he didn't get drunk on wine.
Right, and that's exactly the point that I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Is like that's the overall conception, but
It says stay sober-minded.
it says stay sober-minded, don't get drunk on wine,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it gets a little personal with like are you getting convicted about drinking, and do you feel like if you go to a bar, are you going to get drunk? And if you are, don't go to a bar.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. But
It's like know where your weak spots are.
exactly,
And,
yeah,
yeah, there's a difference between going to a bar and having a beer or two.
Right.
But it's like when you're having 7 beers
It's like,
and
all right.
you're drunk.
then that's at that point that's just sin.
Yeah.
Like that's not a arguable thing.
Yeah.
And it's also about like intention of why are you drinking?
Yeah.
Are you drinking to get drunk or see how close you can get to getting drunk?
Yeah.
That's a sin. Like it's as simple as that. But if you're
It's like you're flirting with sin then.
Exactly. You're playing with it. You're flirting
Yeah.
with it. But like with me, when I didn't drink until I turned 21. So, and now it's like I only ever do it if it's like, oh, I've never had this like crazy looking and tasting cocktail before because it like looks like it tastes good, and then I'll try it and I'll be like, yeah, it's like fruity and sugar. It tastes good, like that kind of thing. But then like I'll never have more than one. Or
Yeah.
if it's like twisted tea is a big thing because it's so low alcohol percentage, but it's like it's sweet. It's just tea, but like alcohol, and it tastes different than tea. So I'm like,
Yeah,
I kind of
will
like
drink
this.
a bunch of them, and then it's too late. They realize, oh,
Right.
I'm drunk.
And my thing is like, I know that I can have like 2 and be fine as long as I'm doing it with food, because I drink it because it tastes good. But the second it gets to like, am I starting to feel like not myself? Then it's like, okay, no, we're done. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't even like test like, oh no, I can maybe do one more. Like, no, it's if I know my limits.
You have to know your limits, and you have to have moderation. Like,
Exactly.
it's like moderation with anything, even like overeating food, gluttony and all that stuff. Like,
yeah, I would say moderation with most things.
yeah.
Because I just saw this a little while ago about like, oh, everything in moderation.
Well, what
And
should
it
you not
was,
have in moderation?
Like drugs, just straight up like.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying there should be no moderation and that you should have as many drugs as you want.
No,
I was
like
that's a wrap.
like Ed, that's we're cutting on that one.
Yeah,
That's
because
crazy.
you're not sober at that point.
right.
You're not. Obviously, whatever. People argue, oh, I don't get high off of a blunt. But you're still. It's like that step towards. It's like, seeing how close you can get to that line.
It's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And like that, my thing is like, if you're doing that, if you're altering your like the insides of your body, like at that point, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
no,
Your body's a temple.
right. And you got to be a little careful with that though too, because it's like a big argument is like, oh, well, if you're going to say that, then you can't do any of this other stuff.
Like drink pop or coffee and all that stuff. Like,
and it's like, it's more, like I said, it's more about the intention behind why you're doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, are you smoking because you want to get high or it makes you feel good or something like that? Or are you doing all this stuff because it's like,
are you doing it to escape something? Or
are you using it as a coping mechanism? Because that's a massive problem.
Yeah.
Like it's an unhealthy
it's a slippery
coping
slope, and
mechanism.
there's no upside of that.
Exactly. It's a lot of people who do that. It's like you're using it as a coping mechanism, but it's an unhealthy coping mechanism. You're like altering your brain chemistry and you're messing up like your insides. Like it's literally what you're doing. You're putting smoke into your lungs. But like I said, that's a different, longer conversation. But the whole thing with that is like it's all personal conviction and intention on why you're doing stuff. But so the big thing with that is where I was going originally with the whole drinking thing is like, it's what they do is like they'll go out to the bars and like have a drink with these people, and it's like the way that I thought about it, it's like if this non-believer is seeing someone who's calling himself a Christian like drinking, they're like, wait a second, I thought you guys weren't allowed to do that. Like I thought you guys couldn't do that, and it starts like bringing up questions, and it's like
Having a drink or having drinks.
right? It's like you having like a drink or are you getting drunk? Like it's a difference.
Yeah.
But the thing
it's like
is
when
like
Kanye had that one church service, but they were like handing out beers and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he's interesting right now, but that's a different conversation.
We almost had Kanye. He was almost there.
He was so close. But they'll like go out to these bars and have like a drink or two with these people, and it's like you're going out to a place where there are broken and hurt people. You're meeting them where they're at, and then showing them there's a better side to it. It's like there's a better side to life, and that there is a way out.
Yeah.
Like, tell me that's not exactly what Jesus did.
Yeah.
When he went out to like literally just anybody in any like sinner that he went to in the Gospels. Like my favorite example is the woman at the well, because it's like he's going to this woman and.
Did you see that episode of The Chosen?
Of course I did. Come on.
Are you on season? Are you on season
Every
4?
single one of you. I'm not. I
I'm
stopped.
on season 4, episode 3. Even if you are not a believer, just watch The Chosen.
Yeah.
I promise. It's still a good show.
It is.
And
it makes it a lot easier to understand. That's a big thing. It's visualizing everything that you're
like if you're
reading.
like, oh, I don't want to read the book if I don't believe it. Just watch the show. I promise it's still a good show. Now it's on everything. It used to be only on their website, but now it's on like Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff.
Yep.
It's still a good show, even if you don't believe in Jesus. And you never know, it might
make you ask some questions.
It might,
Pique your interest a little bit.
It is literally like it's so good. I hope they do like a whole story of Moses and all that.
Yeah.
Just it'd be
If
so
they
good.
keep going with that, I think it's gonna be good. But yeah, like I said, my favorite example is the woman at the well, because he goes to her and tells her everything that she ever did. And then tells her that there's a way out, that there's a living water that can fulfill her in a way that like no other.
And he never met this girl.
No, met her like in that moment, in that day. But like the thing with that is like that's what Jesus did, and that's what like we're meant to do. It's like instead of going to people and telling them like, hey, you're living a terrible life, like you're gonna go to hell if you keep living the way that you are. It's like no, let's
In a loving way.
let's like it is the biggest way that I look at it is let's convict, not condemn. Convicting is like, hey, probably shouldn't be doing this because it's not the greatest for you, but there is a way out. There is a better way to be living your life, and let me like share that with you in a loving way.
Yeah.
Condemning is just like, you're living this terrible life. You're going down.
You're going to hell. People like standing in the streets with the megaphones and like,
It's
bro,
like-
no one's gonna see that and go, I'm gonna go read my Bible now.
Like, maybe I should go to church on Sunday. Like, no
Yeah,
one's
they're
doing
gonna be
that,
like,
dude.
no, look at those horrible people.
Yeah.
Like, it's sending me to hell.
That's like the view of Christians that a lot of people have because of those people who would go out and do that.
Yeah.
That's like my biggest problem nowadays. It's like there are so many people who are painting the wrong picture of like what Christians are and
I
who
know.
we are as
Like,
people.
just imagine how many people are like, I'm never going to a church then because
And
of that.
it's worse when like people have a lot of church hurt or grew up in like I'm gonna say because a lot of experience that I've had is like with Catholic church, people who've grown up like that. Taylor is a massive example of that. Like, that's how she grew up, and she had church hurt from it, and it just put her away from it. But then I've had conversations with her a lot about it, and seeing like how we're living life, and then how we have the podcast about it and talking about it. That's what like piqued her interest. That's what she's told me like made her think about it more. And so then she started going to church with Jake, started reading her Bible, studying her Bible. When she told me that and she sent me a picture of her notes from Sunday, I genuinely almost started like bawling my eyes out because I was like,
That's insane.
I didn't know that like we were doing that. I didn't know that we were having this effect. Like, it's crazy to think about that. And like, I think I posted some TikTok about like, it's like, people saying that like being a Christian must make your life so much easier. And then it's like the next slide.
Oh yeah,
it's
I did see
like-
that. Yeah, I saw the comment.
It's like, am I really making a difference? And the only comment was her saying, you did.
Bro,
Thank you.
even
And
if
that,
you just say one person, it's
man.
all worth it, dude.
Literally, if this podcast like never gets crazy popular, or our TikTok pages never get crazy like famous or viral, but if we're reaching one singular person and we're growing heaven by one person, all that matters. I'll keep doing it every day. It doesn't matter.
Dude,
That's
it's
like
just
the goal.
sometimes it just makes me so sad that like there's some people in our lives that like you really, really want them to be in heaven, and just like sometimes it's out of your control, and you just gotta put it in God's hands and He'll figure it out.
Yeah. Sometimes we're meant to plant the seed, but not like
Water it.
like
He's gonna
nurture and
water
water
it,
it. Yeah. It's like there's someone else in their life that's coming or is there that's going to nurture that seed and make it grow. Like sometimes we just have to plant it, you know. Which it's hard though, because it's like you just want people to get like why you live your life the way that you live life, and the kind of God that you serve, and this crazy guy named Jesus who's done so much for you. And it's like, I just want you to get it, but like maybe it's not my job to make you get it.
True. Like maybe you're the person that planted the seeds, but you know someone else down their life is the one who waters it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of trusting God, because everything is in His hands, you know. And it's like, it might not make sense to me why this is happening, or why did I get put in this person's life, and then they just left. It's like, why did this happen? And it's like God's like telling us like, well, because you were supposed to put the seed there. Someone else is coming along the line that's going to take care of it. I need you. And also, we grow from that experience sometimes. It's like that's growing our experience and ministering to other people's life and spreading that love.
Like one thing I learned is like I don't know, learn, but I just realized that there's certain people that God is going to put in your life, but there's also certain times where God is going to put you in someone else's life, you know, to help them. And just like looking at that from a different perspective, is just I've like kind of realized that with one of my friends that I met that's like going through a hard time. And I was like, I really feel like God put me in their life to kind of just be there for them like that and encouraging.
Yeah.
And because he is a believer, but he's just going through like a super rough time. And there's a lot of people that, you know, that go through a time like that. They're like, why would God do this to me? Or why would God let this happen in my life? And they're like, that's it, I'm done. And then, but yeah. I just want to make sure that like I just try to like be encouraging to them and be like, listen, no matter what's happening, God still loves you, and you may not understand it, but there's a reason for everything.
Like, even if it doesn't make sense, like,
And not
there
everything
a
is
reason.
meant for us to be able to understand like that.
Like, we're humans. We're not always going to understand why the creator of the universe does things.
Yeah.
Like, we're not supposed to get all of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that what you said made me think about a similar situation with the one girl, because when everything exploded, I immediately went to God and was like, why is this happening right now? Like, why did I have to go through like 2 years of like being this hooked because I thought you were telling me to pursue her, like, just for this to blow up in the end? Like, I don't understand why this happened. And I basically had to get to the realization that you just said, is like, God placed her in my life and God placed me in her life because we both needed to learn something from each other. And once that lesson was learned, like, that was kind of it. It was separated us, and like, okay, now that part of our life is over, that part of the journey is done and over with. Now it's time that we go separate ways and keep going towards God, just in our own direction. And like, that really sucked and hurt when that happened, but I'm at a point where I'm like content with that, you know, because it's like,
And you grew from it. It's not like you got no knowledge or wisdom out of the whole situation.
Yeah, I'm now like, I think I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything, but like, I feel like I'm more spiritually mature now because of that whole situation than I've ever been. And it's like, I never would have, not never, but I wouldn't have gotten to where I am today if that hadn't happened. And I'm glad that it happened, and I wouldn't have changed anything about it because I know God was working through every single second of it. And I'm content where I am now, you know? Like, I'm now at a point where I'm like, I don't really need to be in a relationship right now. Like, and I'm okay with that because I'm glad that I can use this time to focus on God and my relationship with Him, you know? And if it's supposed to happen with someone eventually, it'll happen. Like,
The thing
it'll happen eventually.
God already knows who you're going to marry and spend the rest of your life with. So like, you really don't need to worry about it. It's going to happen the way it is supposed to happen. And just being content with that brings a lot of peace.
It does. And I'm like, I know that even if it doesn't work out, that's the big thing, is even if I know that it's not going to work out with her, it's going to work out even better with someone else. And it's the same thing with like her though. If like, it's not me, it's going to be someone even better for her. It's like, I want that to happen. Yeah. Like, I genuinely
you want the best outcome for both of you guys.
Exactly. Like, I know God has something better planned for me, and I know God has something better planned for her. And like, whatever that is, I want His plan to be what both of us are striving for and not anything else. So, yeah, that's where we're at. And it's good though. It's good, you know, because it's just constant learning, you know. You never really stop learning about God. You like pastors who have been doing it their entire lives and are crazy spiritually mature, like people like Craig Rochelle and Stephen Furtick and all these crazy popular pastors who've been doing it their entire lives. They're still learning every day about God because there's just so much to learn, and there's not enough time on this planet that we have to learn about Him. So I'm excited to see where everything gets taken now, you know.
Exciting times.
Very exciting.
There's only so much that's going to happen now. Yeah,
but it'll be good because God's involved in it, and anything He's involved in is always good.
Yep.
Whether we see it or not, or we think it's good or not, it always is.
Amen.
All right.
It's 9:33. We should wrap.
Yeah.
I think that was a solid episode, though.
That was great. I think that was great. I'm excited to be back, and I think this is a little sign from God that we should prioritize this a little more. Yeah, I think it is too. And now we have access to it whenever.
True.
So,
what is that room?
There's a little side room with a bunch of like side equipment, and there's another one back there. But anyway, that's a very small hallway. So, there's the pit. I'll show you the pit after this. There's a room under here.
What?
I'll show you. Yeah.
All right,
I'll show you.
Do you want to close this on prayer?
Yeah. All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking us up this morning and giving us an opportunity to live for you and glorify you in everything that we do, Lord. Thank you for the lessons that you've taught us over the years and all the lessons that are yet to come, Lord. Thank you for your faithfulness and your goodness, Lord. Even when we don't see it or we don't feel it, we know you're working in the background to better us and better our faith and better us as people, and that your plan for us is better than anything that we could ever come up with ourselves, Lord. Thank you for the fellowship that me and Taylor are able to have with each other, and I thank you for this podcast that you were just good enough to bring into fruition, Lord. And I thank you for how positive the feedback and the response has been to this, Lord. I pray that even if this podcast doesn't get crazy popular or go viral or anything like that, that we're just reaching one person, that we're making your kingdom bigger just by one person, Lord. That's all we ask, Lord. The ultimate mission is to grow your kingdom. That's what the Great Commission is, Lord, to bring people closer to you by sharing the love of Jesus, Lord. So I pray that you would help us each individually in our own walks with you so that we can do that more efficiently, and that our overall goal is to have the closest relationship with your Son that we possibly can, Lord. I pray that you would be with us this following week, and that we would never stray our view from you, Lord, and that you would be with us like you always are, Lord. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. That's a wrap.
Whoa. This is the pit. We have been moving furniture and such from other rooms.
What?
So this is where the high school boys meet for youth. They're a small group room. So yeah,
this is cool.
We've just been throwing stuff down here for now. This was not fun to move down here. Me and another guy, Travis, we had a fun time playing Tetris with that thing down these stairs.
Jeez.
Not a fun experience. I was not involved in moving these, which was fine. But yeah, this is the pit, man. We're planning on doing like a bunch of stuff with like making it look cooler, I guess. But yeah,
It's fan art.
potentially.
That'd be cool. A
don't
bunch
know
of
what the
stuff
plan-
that someone makes or paints or.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is for this room, but you know. And then we got our prayer board. Every year we do prayer. I think it's like 21 days of prayer and fasting. I think is what it's called. So we have this board up, and then all these sticky notes are prayers that people can just put up here, and that we get prayed for.
Did this already happen?
Yeah, we already did this year, and these are from like. Is there more on the backside? Yeah, there's a lot more on the backside too. But yeah, we've been using this for a while. It's good too. Yeah, it's a really good time, prayer and fasting, because we get to like just spend time in community, just praying every week. And some people do the fast, some people don't. Really just depends on like where you're at with God, you know. But it's good, man.
I accidentally fast a lot.
Accidentally? What
I
do you
forget to
mean?
eat.
No.
What's this?
This is just to the other side of the stage, but there's also another like room with a bunch of equipment and this door right here.
Jeez. Bongos. Hold this. See if I can play them. I don't know.
Wait. Also this thing.
What?
So
All right. I gotta head out.
yeah,
And my battery's about to die.
that's a wrap.
Any final words?
Read your Bible.